This is a Board of Commission call meeting on Thursday, July the 7th, 2022, 4 p.m. Let me do a roll call. Mr. Burst?
Present.
Mr. Pope?
Present.
Mr. Lucas?
Present.
Mr. Barner?
Present.
Cheers. Okay. I'm gonna ask Mr. Burst if he would lead us in prayer.
Father, we thank you in the name of Jesus, Lord, for this day that you made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you, oh God, for being able to allow us to be at this meeting, oh God, to take care of the business of this county. We pray, God, you look upon our city, our county, look upon our nation, oh God. We pray, God, you just continue to cover us, oh God, with your love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On our agenda items, we got this is our resolution for the 2022-08 intergovernmental agreement with the City of Waycross to impose a 2022 special purpose local option sales tax. What this is to agree with the city and Ware County and the City of Waycross to vote on a 1 cent special purpose tax. Scott could probably explain it better than I could. I'd ask him to explain exactly what the resolution.
Yes, sir. This resolution actually approves the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Waycross to impose the 2022 SPLOST. And the City of Waycross held a meeting 2 days ago and approved the attached agreement by their resolution. I've got a copy of it in your packet there. I think it's maybe the third or fourth sheet back. And this is the intergovernmental agreement included that sets out all the stipulations and the terms of the agreement, along with the budget that's included in the back as Exhibit A. And it's for a maximum proceeds of $55 million, and the tax after the level 2 projects are taken out, the proceeds at that point is split 60-40, 60% for the county projects and 40% for the city projects.
Okay.
And we have Miss Jennifer Herzog on the phone. I didn't know are you still online, Jennifer? She probably has it on mute.
I'm here.
Okay. All right. If you had any legal questions, I asked her to call in for the commission if there's anything from a legal standpoint that you may have that you might need to ask.
Chairman.
Okay.
Scott, I don't know if this really be considered a legal question, but is there a cap on that amount, that 55? Is that a cap? Because I thought it was something about you could collect it for like 5 years, but then if you had an agreement, then you do it for 6 years. But is there a cap on it?
Yes, sir. It goes, being that we have an agreement with the City of Waycross, if it's approved tonight, it will go for 6 years. And from the standpoint of the $55 million, if you reach that if it's a lower amount in actuality from the standpoint of what we're currently collecting, the $55 million just puts a maximum cap on it, so we don't have to end it earlier than the term of the agreement. So if you reach the certain amount, you have to stop.
So if we reach 55, we have to stop it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If it reaches in 5 years or something like that, it's got to stop.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That is correct, right, Jennifer?
If you have, I'm sorry to take you off mute every time. I apologize,
No.
but yes, you have one additional year if you have the agreement in place. So
But once we reach the 55, it ceases, right?
Yes, the 55 is our limit, but we've made my understanding is, and Scott, make sure this is correct, is that we've essentially overestimated to the point that we do not believe that we'd ever go above the 55, but we have, budgeted based on that number.
Okay.
Mr. Scott, if I may ask a question? If this is approved, this is what we're putting on the ballot for November, correct?
That is correct, yes,
And
sir.
if it is voted and approved, it does not start until the other one ends in March, then this one starts in April.
That's correct, yes, sir. The collection will start in April.
April.
And the single county T-Splosh will end at the end of March. So
Right.
there'll be no change in the current 8% sales tax.
Okay.
The joint project that we're gonna do together is Albany Avenue, and Garlington Street overpass. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
at 9,750,000.
Yeah, so we have a preliminary design done, and the engineers sent us a cost estimate based on what we were asking for, and it is at 12 million. And what we had to do, because we had that 20% cap on the level 2 projects, we had to put as much as we could of that construction of that overpass in the level 2, and then split that remaining difference between the county and the city at that 60-40 split, so we could get the budgets to balance.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so, but they agreed, that we finish it, both of us,
That's correct.
county
Yes,
and
sir.
the city.
Yes, sir.
We are gonna finish it.
Yeah, that is definitely a project that if it passes, then we'll start the very next morning moving forward on this project.
Okay.
So going by this list, that's a total of $30 million for roads, overpass bridges, road equipment to look after the roads and drainage, $30 million, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the bulk of the money is definitely going into roads and streets,
Yeah, that's well over half.
pretty much. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what Commissioner Pope was saying, that I want to, as we talked, and I think that was one thing we was kind of getting hung up on, but the county will be paving roads in the county. We don't know exactly which roads, but we will be paving roads in the county. We got the overpass and any bridges that, may have to be taken care of at that time, and then road capital equipment and drainage, so.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, there will be roads paved. Don't know exactly which one, but hopefully we can, get a lot of the roads paved, and assess everything, so.
And one of the things that we can do, and this is more of an aside, but if it does pass to November, the county commission has the planning retreat after the first of the year, and that would be a time to hash out what projects we need to start shooting for at that point, because at that point we'll know that it passed.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Scott, I've got one question on the resolution number 2022-08. Shouldn't this resolution should state the split 60-40? You don't say it nowhere in the resolution.
Well, the resolution actually approves the agreement, and it's inside the agreement, basically.
We don't have a copy of the agreement in here,
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
It's
it's-
there.
but it's not in it.
It's
in the
starts-
agreement.
Let's see.
It's,
Which page you on that?
It's about the
Steve?
fifth, it's right there where you see it's exhibit 1 at the top, on page 1, there's a page 1 or number 1 at the bottom of the page.
B1.
No, sir, at the front, it's behind the resolution, that the city of Waycross passed.
Well, it's behind the city of
Yeah,
Waycross.
right after their resolution, the next page starts the agreement.
Section 1 of the resolution refers to Exhibit 1, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
So that Exhibit 1 is actually part of the resolution.
That's correct, yes, sir. It's all part of the same resolution.
Thank you.
On page 6, just to point out what you asked about, on page 6, the first paragraph is the statement of how the percentage would be split.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah,
okay.
60%, yeah, 40%, there it is. this right there, on page 6.
Page 6.
And this,
Yeah, I see
Mr.
it.
County Manager, this has nothing to do with the bridge on Ossie Davis US 1.
No, sir, not at all.
Nor does it have anything to do with the, Jamestown
Jamestown Bridge.
escape.
Not that bridge either,
Right.
no, sir. You know, and it's one of the things there is, and as Jennifer pointed out, those things you do want to leave open and have the flexibility if something was to come up. Let's say we needed a bridge replaced out in the county, and it was more of a dire need and emergency standpoint, then you're still able to use those funds. You may have to move some stuff around, but you can still use those funds to do that project. If not, then if it's not listed, you can't do it. You can't use those funds, in other words.
Right.
And that's why.
Okay.
All right.
And if we get in a tight with we need a fire truck or ambulance, we're gonna have to, we know we gotta go there first. You know, I mean.
Well, yes, sir, from a
we've got
public
to-
safety
we
standpoint.
Got
yeah,
to keep
yeah.
everything in, okay. And we can use this money if we
Yes, sir.
have to
Yep.
for something.
You know, and these funds here down the road, you can always, you still got that regional T-Splosh discretionary money that the county receives from the state. And, you know, push comes to shove, you can always use those funds to take place of whatever it is you may not be able to get in this.
Okay.
So that gives you definitely the flexibility you need.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody got anything they need to point it out?
I don't.
I hear a motion that we accept this resolution between the city and the county.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Now, is there any discussion on the motion? Anything? No.
Chairman, hold on, I would like to just say this right here, that I would hope, you know, that everyone that has for lack of a better term, a dog in this fight, that they would try to see the need for this city and the county to have the splash tax, and that they would, you know, hopefully help us try to promote it and show the citizens where it's gonna be beneficial to not only city residents, but county residents. And we got a lot of people that's coming into our community, that's using our roads, that's using our services. And, you know, this way they can help kind of pay for it, because they shop here and everything. So that's the only thing. I just hope everyone can get on the bandwagon and, you know, help promote this, because this is something that we can see the dire need that the city and county need.
It's, I feel like it's the fairest tax it is.
It is.
Getting everybody to help, you know. Okay. Anybody else got anything they'd like to? Of course, this is just a resolution now between the city and the county. If not, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris.
Aye.
Mr. Pope.
Aye.
Mr. Lucas.
Aye.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. All right. Now, on B, this resolution is 2022-09. Impose special purpose local option sales tax by 2022. Now, this is to put it on the ballot to be voted on.
That's
And-
correct, yes, sir.
And this is a resolution to put it on the ballot.
That is correct, yes, sir.
The way we stated it, and if anybody, I guess we could ask the audience, does anybody want to say anything on it? Or did the commission have anything to talk about on it? Before we,
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to stress the fact, because I've had a couple conversations, a lot of phone calls, in the community. There's people that understand, and some people just don't understand. But they're thinking we're just gonna immediately start the tax, if it passes in November, with the other tax still on. And I have stressed it to them that no, it will not start until April, and the other one rolls off, the T-Splosh rolls off in March. And, you know, of course, we can't promote it, but we're gonna need citizens to promote this, because it's gonna be very beneficial for the whole community, city and county alike.
right. Scott, would you explain that for the record on that, how that works? That taxes guy, I think you've already done it one time, but.
Yes, sir. With the
If you
single
would,
county
please.
T-Splosh lasted or will last for 5 years, and it ends in March 30th of 2023. And then if this passes, this coming up February, then starting April 1, they'll start the collection of the SPLOST tax. So basically, as I've said earlier, that basically the sales tax will remain at 8%. It will, and it's not overlap. There's not a time period where it's 9 cents. One ends, and now if the SPLOST doesn't pass in November, it'll drop to 7 because the T-SPLOST is still going to expire.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Just for clarification, Mr. Commissioner Lucas alluded to about promoting. So as far as promoting, now we as individual commissioners, we can
Vote it no way.
we can say, you know, what we think about the SPOS tax. I mean, but as far as, I guess what you're saying is like using county funds to promote it.
Right. Yeah, we
Okay.
can't do that.
Yeah, but as individuals, we can do it.
Yeah, the last couple of times the attempts, I've had some things published in the Journal Herald, basically providing information and education on what the monies are used for, why is it so beneficial to the community, not just Ware County, but also the city of Waycross too. And so I'll go back through those things and circulate that through the commission, let you
Right.
look at it, you know, see what your thoughts and comments are, and then start trying to put out informational public releases for folks to try to, you know, basically just for education reasons. Because there's a lot of questions. I mean, there's still, you know, even now, a lot of folks don't understand exactly what this is for and why is it so beneficial to the community.
So if a commissioner wanted to have like a, not town hall, but you know, just a community meeting and talk about the SPLOST tax, we at liberty to do that, right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And also, if you have a group of people that maybe say they want to just form a group to say, to promote it, they can do that.
Correct. Private individuals, private businesses can do that.
Okay, that's why I just wanted to make sure we were
Now
clear.
the commission can go to the exchange club and give a speech on it, can they?
Yeah, you
can,
can, as long as you're not in there, you know, wearing a vote yes T-shirt and promoting it from that standpoint and asking people to vote yes, or even in a sense voting no. It's just that we're there to provide information on what the monies would be used for if it passes.
Basically to educate.
Just to educate.
right.
Yes, sir.
And it basically, the county commission can educate the voters about the resolution, but cannot promote the resolution.
Cannot
can't go
promote
say
it,
vote
correct.
yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
But we
Yes.
have to
Yes.
educate.
Well, what you're saying, we can't say, I think you need to go vote yes, or I think you need to vote no.
Said no.
But we can tell them about the projects that it can build and
It'll be
express
published
the,
in the paper.
Which is
need
really our
for it.
job. I mean, that's our job for anything that we do.
Right.
So
we
it's
can
the,
tell them
you know,
the need for it, what we propose to do with it.
Correct.
And stuff like that, but we can't tell them to go vote yes.
That's correct. Yes. Sir.
On the first SPLOST referendum, we went to every voting precinct in the county and had information meetings. And it passed pretty good. Everybody
believe we need to do
knew,
that.
I mean, a lot of people knew what was
Probably
going
need to do
on.
it.
I like that, what you said about information meetings.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's,
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a good job for our chairman to go to each one of them.
Yes.
Educate the public.
Well, each commissioner in their district.
In their district.
Go with the chairman and make a presentation.
right.
There's a bunch out in the county, Steve.
I agree with you.
I got 2.
Yeah.
I got 10, 20.
Yeah.
I think we can do a lot of work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we can get some roads paved and some things that we need in the overpass on Albany Avenue. We can, this thing can help.
Fire truck.
Yeah, because just instead of just telling people, well, we're having a splash, like I say, I think the more information we can give them to let them know,
Yeah.
you know, what we're doing, and I think that maybe something that happened in the last couple of times, maybe where it wasn't enough PR done, you know, to promote the splash tax.
I'd like to ask Mr. Tax Commissioner, Mr. Roger, if he's got anything to say, or if he can, with his educational experience, if he can add to this.
On the swap,
Yes, sir.
It's out of his category.
as the tax commissioner or as taxpayer?
Both.
There's two different things that I have to say. I mean, it's just like, you know, we got all these people coming in our country. I'm gonna say it just like this, we have people who come, we are the retail hub of, honestly, Southeast Georgia, we know that. We have everybody coming into our county. We have everybody who comes in our counties, they tear up our roads, if they get in accidents, they use our services. And they don't pay anything for it unless they go to EMS, and luckily if they pay for it, you know, this is just one way of getting stuff taken care of, repair and maintenance, and everything else, from the people who actually come and use it. You know, I mean, it's like we provide a free service, and when it comes to getting fixed, it comes back on the taxpayers' burden. It's a taxpayer burden. Not everybody in Ware County is a taxpayer. You have all these people who rent apartments, who live with their parents, who don't pay a dime in taxes, and they get they enjoy the service, and they don't pay anything for it. That's it. The sales tax is a fair tax, and that's just the way to get
Yeah, it's,
this stuff to be covered by everybody who's using it, everybody who gets the services.
I agree.
Okay.
That's my personal and professional opinion.
And I
thank you,
agree.
brother.
And that's gonna be,
I don't think that the landowners, the actual taxpayers, which are a lot less than our population or this county, should be providing the burden of everything to provide services for everybody else here that comes and uses it, and they don't have any skin in the game whatsoever.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Gary, would you like to say something more?
he's gonna be our spokesman for Jamestown area.
Yeah.
You.
Would like for you to say,
read what's on it yet.
Just promote it, don't read it.
Yeah.
Just go out and get votes. Don't worry about what's on there.
One precedes the other for me.
Oh, okay. We'll get you going.
I can always proceed with anybody else. I don't, like I said, I'm gonna pay my fair share, and I'm gonna pay somebody else's stuff.
And I agree with you, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Tax Commissioner, and the fact that, you know, our population Monday through Friday work week grows astronomically, you know, compared to how many citizens live in Ware County, Waycross combined when the lights go out. And we all know that it exceeds 100,000+ every day of the week, you know. And I believe it would probably be a fair statement to say that these surrounding counties probably pay 50-55%, if not more, of this tax.
I think it's about 45.
It's pretty close.
They're under 50, but it's still, I mean, you're in the mid to high 40s.
Right. And that's you know, and it's just like I spoke to somebody earlier about it. I said that Roger has never wrote a check and cut a check, nor has Scott cut a check to another county or city for them working in our county or city. You know, so when they spend their money here, we keep the money here.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it, that we have other people coming in and spending money, paying the tax, you know, helping out, doing the thing we need to do, and rightfully so. Mr. Bailey,
Because they get our services, just like
I
Roger
guess
said.
not as an HR, but as a citizen, you have anything?
I concur wholeheartedly with Mr. Rogers.
I think that's a good answer. How about you, Mr. Schubert?
Anything Ron said, very tax we got.
Yeah, I think. And I'll say this right here too, even when Splash first started, my street I wasn't staying where I'm staying now, but my street wasn't even on the list to be paid. But I promoted because I saw where it could eventually maybe get to me, you know. And the thing was, it was a fair tax. Everybody pays when you shop, you pay.
That's right.
oh yeah, it's the most fairest tax we can get. Does a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
All right, any more? Anybody else? All right, let's see, we had the motion in the second.
We still need a motion and a second on the second resolution,
resolution.
22.
Okay, I hear a motion on this, resolution, it's 2022-09,
I make a motion with set resolution
I'll second the
as it
motion.
states.
as it stated.
As it stated, yes, sir.
Okay,
And I'll second
Now-
his motion.
is there any discussion, anything else for or against? All right, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Barnes? And the chair votes aye. All right, we don't have anything else on the agenda here, but I would like to ask Roger if he would to come up, if we can talk about the, roll back a little bit. Scott, can we do that?
Yes, sir.
Now? Okay, I'm gonna ask him if he come tell us where we at on that.
Well, like, currently, I came to you guys, about 2 weeks ago, I think it was. It feels like it was just yesterday, day. But the files I received from the assessors at the time, they was having issues. We had some issues. Went back, I got a new file, we went through, and it was perfect. And I gave Scott the rollback. Right now, it's looking at the preliminary numbers is 14.191, not the, I think it was what, 14.0.
034, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 14.191 right now. Again, there's gonna be appeals, we know that. There are covenants out there that, have ended, that during this appeal period, they can put them back in, and there were several of those. So that's gonna change it, but it's gonna be a very, hefty rollback.
Okay, what is it right now, 15 something?
Right now, the millage rate's 15.073.
15.07, so it's gonna roll back
Right now, it's showing 14.191. I mean, I would
Almost a
expect it, if it changes, I mean, I don't see it going no higher than 14.5, but I don't think it'll go that high.
Okay.
So I still think it'll be below 14.5.
Roger, if you could you just, I guess, explain just a little bit about these covenants, when you're talking about some of the covenants?
So you have conservation use covenants, you have Forest Land Protection Act covenant, FLPA. So landowners who are growing timber or have, farming stuff, they can put their land in covenants, and it's a 10-year covenant. So they get, the values are sent down by the state per acre. So they get these big exemptions because they have the large acres and like, especially growing trees, you're dealing with trees and cutting trees every, 15 to 20, depending on what you want to use it for. If it's going to make pellets or if you're going to grow pole trees or whatever. So it's a state program. And they get these exemptions, but after that 10 years, that covenant expires and you have to re-enter it. So if the ones who haven't re-entered it as of January 1st, the law was changed to allow them during the appeal period or when the assessment notices come out to reapply and go back into the covenants. So their exemptions will come, there will be more exemptions on that. So that will bring that rollback, it'll change that rollback rate.
So when you say that the exemption, in other words, they're not paying any taxes on it during that 10?
They're paying taxes, but they're paying at a lower rate.
Lower rate, okay.
I like your homeowners.
Well, that homestead,
It's
is it,
similar to, it's closer to a 30, paying on like 30% instead of 40, but you got these exemptions, and every year, say in that 10-year period, say the assessors on their values, and I'm just not saying that, say on the value, say you have a tract, it's $200,000, and they go up to $500,000. That's not gonna affect that taxable value because it's in that covenant. The covenant max it can go up to 3% a year. And that's those are state values per acre, not a local value per acre.
Okay, thank you.
And with your FLPA, that's acres 200 to 2,000 acres. So that's a totally different program, still a 10-year deal, and they still get that same thing. So if it comes out, they can go back in there.
And don't we also have some, industries and stuff that pretty much getting to the end of their period as far as?
Oh, yeah, we have industries out there who, when they came, they had tax incentives. and they start paying their taxes on a, percentage base. Some was over 20 years, some's over 10 years, everyone, but every year right now, I think the only one out there that's not in paying on that increase yet is GATX, because that was just signed. But they still pay taxes, but the other ones out there, they're increasing their percentages.
Right.
So, I mean,
Which is more
it's
money for the
shown, yeah.
county
I sent- When I
coffers.
sent the initial 32-1, the rollback rate, when we done that, it showed the reassessed value. The reassessed value from last year to this year was $108 million. That's the 40% value. Okay, but the exemptions for that same reassessed value was $48 million. So you're looking roughly, what was raised, 40% of that is now exempted, is exempted. So you had right around a $60 million increase of taxable value. Whereas you go to the actual, and that's the reassessed value, that's your homestead, your home, and your land, everything else. But also on that next line was, what was the property, the increase of real and personal property, that was over $200 million in value, that came online.
But now you said
That's new companies, that's guys out in the industrial park with their tax incentives. That is people who've bought houses, and once the values, and it's something totally new, it's not a pre-existing. Say if I buy a house and I pay $250,000 for it, and initially the assessors had it's frozen at $110,000. Well, that exemption goes off, that 110 goes off, and whatever it was valued at is what now comes on
Right.
the taxes. So that's been a big increase. But like I said, it's over $200 million. And if you do it it's 2.5, I mean, you're looking at what, $5 million, $600 million on 100% value.
if we didn't have no exemptions and nothing to cut back, this increase would create about $6 million. But you know it's not gonna be that much. That's what you're saying?
No, as far as
Because you said
taxes,
you're 40% what you're gonna tax at.
yeah, it's
Well, I like to
40%
get to the
value.
bottom line.
It's 40% value, and like I said, with your homestead, if you have the freezes, your homestead, you got the county freeze. You'll see your taxes will stay roughly the same, it may go down. If you have the city and the county and the school freeze, if your values go up, as long as it's not on an accessory building, it's all part of your homestead, your house and your land, your taxes is not gonna go up because of that value going up, because if it goes up $100,000 and you're frozen, your exemption just went up $100,000 also.
Yeah. But now we are some of us are gonna have increases. What I'm saying, what is the increase? What is your prediction of the increase?
The prediction around, the people who's gonna see the increases are gonna be commercial. It's gonna be non-homesteaded properties, rental houses, stuff like that, if those values have increased.
Timberland is not gonna increase that much.
I don't know anybody that has timberland that is not in the covenant, and if they're not in the covenant, something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Especially big.
And I'm just
Oh,
being,
yeah.
I'm just being honest, if you have timberland and that's what you're using it for, that should be in the covenant, and if you refuse to put it in the covenant, you're either gonna sell it during that 10-year period, or you just have not been educated.
Well, I guess my question is, what do you predict the increase is gonna be?
On
On the income.
On the
tax.
reassessed value.
Yeah, on this new assessment. Is that gonna be, that's where probably we need to look at being able to do a rollback.
Well, I think we just talked about a while ago, what Roger said, I understood him to say was that the rollback was gonna be a nice rollback.
If you gotta know what the income is, what you're gonna be taking from the people.
Yeah, but if we go from
taxpayer.
15 to 14, that's a pretty healthy rollback. What do you think, Roger?
Well, when I done these files, I could do tax bills. And my tax bill went from 1660 down into 1500s with a rollback rate. And that's.
But the assessment
that's
went up.
equal- My assessment went up.
But your taxes went down.
My taxes went down because the values, because my values went up, but so did my exemption. So when you have a lower millage rate and you got more people come on, it causes that to go lower, so.
Okay.
That's the way I understood it too. Yeah.
They gonna be some increase on it.
You just heard what he said. His went from,
There's gonna, I don't know what's gonna see an increase, is gonna be rental property, it's gonna be commercial.
Just
property.
rental property,
Yeah.
or
you
commercial,
don't think?
business owners, big business owners out of industrial park.
Yeah.
All those people, they're the ones that's gonna retail stuff. They're gonna be paying higher taxes. But between your homestead exemption and your rollback, you should be paying lower. Or pretty close. That's the way I understand.
Scott, when do we need to vote on the rollback? What we gonna do with it?
We
Now,
can,
we won't do that until.
No, we don't do it right
around the 1st of
now.
August, if I'm not mistaken.
we
That's
just,
after the appeals, and that, I think that's where it kind of tells you where you're gonna be on the other.
we want,
The initial change on the reassessed portion, it says 853,000, but they also get swallowed once you go down through all the other net, as actual exemptions that they got to, so.
well, less than $1 million.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it won't be that, as much, but that reassessed value, like I said, is going to affect just rental property, commercial, retail, stuff like that. And that's depending on, the ones who do Freeport out here in Industrial Park, they're gonna get that big exemption off of it, so that'll drop their stuff off. There's a bunch of, not looking, it's showing less than $1 million, but that's not with everybody. That's just gonna be certain classes of property. As I stated, it's the non-residential homestead properties, they're rentals. And I'll say this, since it's been on here and everything else, there's a lot of folks in this county that should be homestead, that's not homestead. There's a lot of folks in this county who do not have a county freeze, who has an S1 exemption, who actually should have an F1, which would be a county freeze alone. And then, there's a school freeze and a city freeze. So if you live in the city and you got a house and you got a S1, yours is gonna keep going up because you're not frozen. And that's what everybody needs to they need to contact the Board of Assessors and make sure that they're getting the proper exemption on their homestead. But, the taxes that you will see a lower rate in your taxes. You will see a lower rate in your taxes, so it's no different last year, everybody was up in arms about what was going on,
Yeah.
you still have a lower rate, even with keeping whatever was at before was going down.
But I know this is a fair thing that we did on the county to do that assess, because I know it was all too low. I know that our county was, our values was too low. Because we were selling houses and land for
Well,
what,
that's the
twice what
market.
it's on the books
The
for.
market here, I mean,
mean-
no different than any place else. Everybody, initially, when the recession hit in 2008, it didn't hit us the way it did
Yeah.
everybody else. But it was a gradual deal. This buying market's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, and it doesn't matter where you go, the values are increased. I've seen the houses that's $110,000, they sold for $235,000. I saw one that was $14,000, sold for $79,000. And these are people coming in, they buy them. And when you got that, it's just a massive influx. I don't know anybody who's buying houses for cheaper than what they're worth. you know, cheaper, there's nobody that, if you are, I mean, they getting a good deal. I ain't heard anybody doing that in the last few years.
Yeah.
So everything's going up, and that's a driving thing, and that's the deal with the DOR. That's a driving thing. So if the selling price is being double and triple than what we've got valued at, then that means the values are there, that, you know, you have the value of your house.
Once you sell that property, say, if you had $100,000 house, you turn around and sold it for $200,000, whoever buys it, they're gonna just about pay taxes on that $200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, there's a lady told me that hers jumped from 14,000 to 29,000. She had a house trailer and 3 acres of land with a deep well and a big old barn. Nice trailer. And I thought to myself, will you take that?
Yeah.
You know,
And
hang on.
You're right, a check right then.
I mean, how did, that didn't even, she just jumped from 14 to 29.
Yeah, I had somebody in the office and they said, I need your help. I said, for what? And they said, well, my taxes are twice what it was in my old house that I just sold. I said, okay. And I pulled up, I said, well, you paid X number of dollars for your new house. She said, yeah. I said, and you sold your house, your other house for this? She said, yeah. I said, that's a huge difference in money.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get this high house for a lower value. You're not
Difference
gonna
between a
get
Volkswagen and a Cadillac.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
a new Volkswagen and a new Cadillac. Let's put that, because old
Yeah.
Volkswagens now, they're going up. But, yeah, I mean, seriously, and when you talk to them, so would you sell your, and I had somebody tell me the other day, I'd sell you my house. I said, let's go. And they said, you playing? I said, no, meet me in the bank. We'll get some papers from it. I said, I'll buy it. They said, no, I'm kidding. I said, I thought so. You know, the values are there. People don't want to sell it, but they're going to complain. Nobody wants to pay taxes. I don't like paying higher taxes. Nobody likes paying higher taxes. That's period. It don't matter who it is, you know. And, you know, you want that Cadillac for the Volkswagen price.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
So Roger, why is it that on the rental properties, you say they'll see an increase on the taxes? Is it because they don't have the exemption like the homestead and all that stuff?
Yeah, they're not homesteading. You
No
can't
freeze.
homestead them. They don't have the frozen values on that. Time to sell something, Mr. Commissioner.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Are they gonna see a significant increase, or is it gonna be a mild increase?
No, I would say it would be a mild, but then again, everybody's property is different. You know, I'm not going to individually look at everybody's property, and if somebody calls, I can pull it up and see what it is. You can go on Q Public and see the difference. You know, you can pull up your house wherever it's at. If you got a rental place, and you can pull up and compare it from the year before that, to what it is, and just figure on millage rate, what you're gonna see as an increase. There's nothing that's gonna be dramatic, because the millage rates are gonna drop now.
Right. And the millage rate is the same for homesteaded people as it is for people with rental property.
They're the same, yeah. Yeah, the millage rate's the same.
And that's the message I believe we gotta push hard, because that's what rental property owners don't understand. Because I've had numerous ones call me complaining that every one of their rental properties went up $4,000 in value. Increase.
Well, if you got water and sewer, it doesn't matter if it's a well and septic tank, or if it's Cedar County, you got a home, so everybody got that $4,000.
Right,
But that's 100% value.
right.
So that's.
But if that
that's
goes
a home
up-
site, they call that a home site, because you're getting those services.
But when that goes up, the millage rate goes down,
Yeah.
pretty much an offset.
Right. So see, you look at, you know, 40 grand, I mean, 4,000, you're paying on 40% of that. And then you're paying, in the county, is gonna be, just say, it's gonna be less than 1.5% of that value. That 40% value is what you pay. Because that, you know, everybody looks at the millage rate, well, it's 16.3, it equals 1.5. If our millage rate's 15.8, that's 1.5%, a little over 1.5% of what you're gonna pay on the value of the taxes.
Okay.
After homesteading, you got the freezes, you got the homestead exemption part comes off it also, so.
So Roger, on the home site, like I said, at $4,000, that's something that I guess the county should have been doing, but they hadn't been doing it, and now
Well,
pretty
now,
much
the Board of
implement.
Assessors, I'll say this, I've lived in the county since I lived in the county with a well and septic tank since 2003. And they've always had a homicide on anybody who has a well and septic tank, because it was considered an improvement. And, you know, I was on the Board of Assessors and I disagreed at the time. I said, I don't see it being an improvement, because I've got a septic tank that you can't do anything with that property. You can't even plant flowers over it. You got a drain field, you can't do anything with that property. You got a big old well standing here, it is ugly. Only thing you can do is put an enclosure around it and you're gonna get charged for it too. So it's not necessarily an improvement. Well, you got a city house or a county house that's got county water and sewer and city water and sewer. You got a pipe going in, a pipe coming out, but you can use every bit of your land, but you know where those pipes are. That's more of an improvement than a well and septic tank, because you got less property that you can use.
But now everyone is
But
getting,
now, this year, they've put it on everything that has that.
But they've done it across the board,
Across the board, yeah. They've done it across the board, made fair with everybody, so.
not just rental people, but everybody.
Oh, no, that's everybody. That's everybody's house, everybody's, if you got two wells and septic tanks out there, you gotta get right around.
Let me ask you something about like on a house, they had it at 150,000, they jumped it to 200,000. Okay, what percentage, and he's got homestead and all of that, what percentage will that thing increase?
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't increase
It
at all.
shouldn't increase at all.
If that
It's
person
got,
is homestead.
I think it's 3%, ain't it? You can't do that every,
No, that's on land that's in covenants, the max that can increase on.
Okay, don't have nothing to do with
and
the
Stuff
house.
like that. You talking about a house and land, if it's properly homesteaded, they can go up 100, they can go up $1 million. It's gonna be frozen.
But it won't
That
raise
fix
that.
it, your exemption's gonna go up, follow the same
But
amount.
that's your house and what, 5 acres?
House and 5 acres. Now, it doesn't include the accessory buildings. So if you build a nice barn out there, or you build a nice shop out there, that value is gonna get added on. And that's the only thing that can change, that can increase it, was because it's not part of your actual homestead.
in other words, he won't get a tax increase on that.
So you actually see
You don't
city's
think
taxes
it,
drop down.
Not unless he built a shelter or something.
So when I done this rollback, I also done the, schools, and I've also done the cities. And currently, with the preliminary numbers, the county, school system's millage rate rollback will be close to right at a mill also. The cities is a half a mill, but, you know, it's just depending on what they're gonna do with it, but, I mean, if you live in the city, you could possibly see 2.5 mil rollback on your property. In the county, you can probably see close to 2 mil rollback on your property combined. So
Okay.
taxes will drop, you know, with those homesteads, the rollbacks are used. And even with the rates going up, they still should see, it may stay close to the same, may go up a little, may come down a little bit with these rollbacks, if the rollbacks are used and where the numbers are at.
But we're talking about very small amounts. And that's why this SPLOST is so important.
Well, like I said, the SPLOST.
Is the most equal.
Well, the big thing is you don't have, we're at a little over 21,000 parcels. We don't have 21,000 landowners. We don't have 21,000 homes. You know, and even 21,000, you got 50, 60,000 people coming in and they're tearing up our stuff, but you're going back on this 21,000 to pay for everybody else's
Right.
stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, we don't have that many landowners, you know, you're looking at roughly probably, I'd say,
12 to
12 to
15.
14,000, you know, roughly.
landowners.
You know, and when that's, you know, that's owners, that's any owner that's got any stake in the
All right.
Okay, anybody else got any questions for Roger? But we gotta vote on this thing pretty quick.
Be in August.
I got a question I want to ask.
Okay.
I talked to Commissioner Pope the other day and kind of took him by surprise. Has anybody thought about possibly challenging the census that we've got?
You do what now?
Challenging the census, the so-called census that we lost 71 people?
You seem to be kind of convinced that the census is not correct.
I honestly don't. I don't, I can tell you this, in the last 2 years, the last 2.5 years, including this year, I've done over 13,000 address changes.
Added to it.
Address changes. That ain't 13,000 people moving from this house to this house. That's people coming in.
Well, you
You know,
kinda
you're gonna
judge,
have some people moving in, that's moving in the county, buying a house here and there, not 13,000 people.
you can kinda judge by your increase in car tags also.
Yeah. But see, it's all changed now, the way we can do it. The grass used to be able to tell you everything. Now this new system's got to kind of jacked up where we can tell. We gotta try to get with the DDS to figure out how many owners we got. But, I mean, over 13,000 address changes.
I know, like, speaking of the census, contest, I sent a request in for that to be done, and preliminary wise, they go back and check their, I think they refer to them as group populations, nursing homes, apartment complexes and those kind of things, and they check those numbers first, and then work back from there.
Where everything's full.
Yeah.
Could we do that, Scott? I mean, could we,
They extend that out.
get somebody to do a census on it? A local,
Well, see,
some local
the
people or?
the big thing with the census is also is the money that you're gonna get from the federal government.
Yeah,
So, and I just know, I know the work that's been going on with us and the new Georgia stuff that we're doing, all these address changes, people coming in, moving from different counties and coming in. We did not lose it, we had not lost population.
yeah.
If we lost it, you gotta tell me where, because, I mean, you can't move around Waycross, man.
You can't.
We've had 3 families move in out there right where we live at.
Oh, yeah.
One come from, Maryland, and one from Atlanta, and we've got a Florida bunch down there.
Well, I can tell you that.
I mean, they moved in the last year or so. So I'm like you, I don't believe that census is
I
right.
know that we've got more than 36.
I know,
What would be the proper
Way to
method
do
or
it.
way to do it to?
The Census Bureau puts out a notice, and I've already registered with them, and one of the things that they are asking for, that they do on their own is go back and check those numbers. And it's it's about a year process, or maybe more than a year. And, they're supposed to be sending me back a notice. They send me an email when they have updates and notices. And so once I hear back from them, they ask for, guidance on areas that we think might need to be recounted as far as census blocks and such. And, they go back and check those numbers. I do know that I've run into, over the last 6, 8, 9 months, I've run into probably 4 or 5 folks who have asked me, why are they getting a census questionnaire survey? And I said, well, did you fill one out to begin with? And they said, we've never filled one of these out before. So, and I asked them, did you ever get a visit at your door from someone who works with the Census Bureau? And they said no. And so there's folks out there that.
So it could be an undercount, like
Correct.
Roger was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll update those numbers after they go through and so forth, but as Roger said, I park in the back parking lot, and I cannot tell you the number of people I've seen from out-of-state tags going into his office to get their tags transferred. From all over, not just, there's a lot from Florida, but there's also a lot from other states that I've seen.
Well, also, I mean, you look at the contractors and the home builders that we got right here in the southeast. I mean, most of them 3 or 4 months out. I mean, if you wanted to build a new home right now, they'd tell you, you gotta wait 3 or 4 months.
Well, like I said, I know that we've got more people than what they're saying.
Exactly.
I do know that, and I also know that, I'm in Rotary, and we actually had, back when they was doing the census, a guy come and spoke to us, and he point blank told me, he said the Census Bureau estimates Waycross and Ware County will have over 50,000 people in 2030. That's 10 years away. He said everything from Brunswick all the way over to Valdosta and with Tifton and down, or it's gonna be nothing but metropolis through it. And I asked him, what do you base that on? He said, just by the industry you guys have just brought in. That's one of the biggest bases.
We growing, no doubt about it.
It is, but I mean, I just think that,
Probably.
there's no way we're losing people, and if they're saying we're losing people and we haven't, we're losing money,
Right.
being able to do y'all's project.
James could probably tell us how many permits goes out a month, James.
And that's just.
It's
that's just
increased a
county,
lot
so
on the
you gotta
permits,
see it
hasn't
too.
So we do, roughly, last year we did about 3 to 4 new site-built homes a month, is what we average.
Yeah,
And then, also, I don't know, it's 80, 90 manufactured home permits,
yeah.
along with that.
A month?
So that don't sound like no decrease to me. I mean, I don't,
Well, like I say, that's, we just, guess need to get the ball rolling.
You're talking about people
With
that's
Scott.
coming in and building a house.
Yeah,
Well, what about real estate agents, that people just coming in and buying houses?
yeah.
So, but for a long time, we were dealing every week, we were taking phone calls or meeting with people from Florida that were moving up.
Have you seen the increase in the car tags going up? Like you had, say, 10,000 last year, 15,000 this year?
yeah, I mean, you see the increase.
I'm talking about
We've
regular
got-
car tag.
I've got, well, we see all the number of transactions is through roof now, it's like 51,000. Where we're at with transactions, but you're also looking at cars that was, you trade one in and
Still on the
you
system.
change over, new titles, we're looking, I think we were doing anywhere from 48 to 7,800 new cars a year.
Yeah, but it seems like, Scott, you've already kind of got the process started to really, okay.
But, I just wanna bring it to y'all's attention,
Yeah.
I think that's something that we really need to look at.
I'm glad you did. I'd like to look into that. I'd like to see, cause I've been hearing that it's decreasing.
I don't
And I
believe it
can't
has.
see that. I don't.
I mean,
we have been losing that thing.
Every year after census, people use the DCH numbers. I don't know what criteria they have, but I don't believe they actually drive around Waycross and Ware County when they sit here and they drop our numbers. They're saying that we're dropping and everybody else is increasing.
I don't believe
So,
that.
people go to, well, I wanna move across the river. People, so-and-so said they're gonna move across the river.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Everything's still full here.
Yeah.
We're still building.
Yeah. I mean, you just take one builder that built like my house where I live. That man in the last 7-8 years has built 150 homes. You know who I'm talking about? I mean, at least 150 homes, and there's somebody living in every one of them.
And then,
And that's
you
just
got-
one builder.
Yeah, but you do one person and they got a formula that's like, say, 2 adults and 2.5 kids or something like that,
Right.
But if you do that and you figure the math and what's in the school system, and the ones who actually live here, who's maybe going to Pierce County, going to the private schools, you add them up, and then you get there's no way those numbers match.
I don't see how our numbers drop. I just don't see how it has.
Okay, is there any more?
Any other questions from me?
No, sir.
Anything else?
I
Anybody got a
appreciate
question?
you, Roger. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Roger.
I hear a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr.
So
Chair.
moved, Mr. Chair. I second that.
Second. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.